Coming up in this Brightline construction update. This update is the third part of a three-part series, providing my most comprehensive look to date at the progress on Brightline's all-new Orlando line. The Orlando line will be a higher-speed passenger rail line running from Orlando International Airport to Cocoa. Over the first two parts of the series, I looked at the area between the airport and State Road 520. This update will look at the progress between State Road 520 and where the line will join into the Florida East Coast Railway main line in Cocoa. We'll start just east of 520 at Second Creek and Jim Creek. Thanks to Brightline, I was able to get access to locations I cannot normally get to on my own. In this case, I'm flying down the right-of-way toward Jim Creek. The first half of the bridge here looks to be complete. This section will be single track initially, but everything was built so the second track can eventually be added. With the piers already built, this will be a simpler location to expand, since the beams can just be dropped into place. This pipe along the wall on the left will be used to provide drainage so water does not build up along the right-of-way. Concrete has been poured in the gaps between the beams to form the deck. We are now headed west towards Second Creek. This bridge looks to be complete as well. Just past the bridge will be a future control point. Initially, this location will just have a short siding for maintenance purposes, but will eventually be incorporated into the second main line whenever it is added in this area. The main difference between the bridge here at Second Creek and the one at Jim Creek is that the piers were built at an angle, since the creek flows at an angle through here. Next up is the St. Johns River Bridge. I am currently flying west up the right-of-way to the bridge. On the bridge itself, all of the pilings have been installed, and the bent caps are almost complete. It won't be long until the beams can be installed here. This is one of the most scenic areas the train will pass through. Unlike the northern portion of the river near Jacksonville, which is a single wide waterway, in this area it flows on several smaller paths that converge to flow through two openings that were left clear when the 528 was built through this area. Brightline's bridges and embankments match those of the roadway. A lot of the work here has been focused on building up this embankment that goes between the two bridges here. They are almost ready to install the last section of wall here. Here on the west side of the river is the bridge over what is known as Taylor Creek. The beams for this bridge have been installed and rebar has been formed for the walls. This is another location where the piers for the second track are already in place, making it easier to double track through here. We'll now head back to take a closer look at the work on the other bridge. Crews had installed a temporary trestle here to work off of, which these cranes are currently on. This pier here on the east end is still having its bent cap completed. These next two are having some finishing touches completed on the top where the beams will eventually rest. The last four piers look to be substantially complete and just have some construction platforms still in place. This abutment has some forms in place for another pour of concrete. The abutment on this side looks to be complete. Heading into the distance, the right-of-way is starting to take shape. We're now going to take a look at some of the progress alongside of the road before making it to the Interstate 95 bridge and the arch panel tunnel. Crews have been working to install the walls along the right-of-way here. There had been a substantial rain shortly before I drove past, which is why the water is puddling, since the drainage system is not yet complete. Here's a section currently being worked on. We're now getting close to Interstate 95, and the right-of-way is starting to look farther along. Some signal equipment has recently been installed here. And at Pine Street, the bridge beams are in place and work is beginning on the walls. I am now back in the air to look at the bridge over Interstate 95. With all the beams now in place, crews are making preparations to install the decking. This bridge is wide enough for 2 tracks, though only a single track will be built initially across it. And here's the view engineers will have before heading across it. We'll now head down the ramp from the bridge toward the arch panel tunnel. The tunnel itself has been completed, and dirt has been filled in across it. The entrance ramp from northbound Interstate 95 to eastbound State Road 528 has been routed across it as work to transition the full road over begins. Most of the work here is now focused on that. The entrance ramp had only been open across it for a couple of days when I filmed this. Due to the number of workers actively working around the tunnel, I could not safely fly up any closer on this visit. With that being said, I can't offer this distant view looking through it. On top, crews are laying sod on the freshly graded embankment. It was built with future road widening projects in mind, so several additional lanes can be built in either direction without affecting the trains underneath. And here's a flight back up the ramp to 95. Here is one final overview of the area. Next up is the bridge over Industry Road. The beams for one track have been installed here. The pier and abutments are ready for beams to be installed in the future, as this will likely be one of the first areas to be double-tracked as service grows. The ramp down to the Cocoa Tunnel is looking to be close to complete as well. The ramp on the west side has progressed quickly as well, with the walls installed. Subroad bed should be spread on it soon. And here's a closer view across it. Next, we'll head just a little farther east to the Cocoa Tunnel. Ever since the tunnel was finished being installed here back in April, this side has been quiet. Subroad bed has been laid out of the tunnel with grass laid alongside it. Where that ends is also where the construction contract for Zone 3, the Orlando line, ends, and Zone 4, which is the work on the Florida East Coast Railway, begins. Here's a quick look through the tunnel. Some materials and equipment are being stored there since it is protected from the weather in there. On the FEC tracks, crews are working to build up the right-of-way here to add the second main line. From Michigan Avenue north, the double tracking is part of the associated Frontenac Improvement Project. This is a joint project between Brightline and the FEC to fix a bottleneck caused by a 3-mile stretch of single track that would have negatively affected the operations of both railroads. Ties in the bottom right corner are being staged here until they are ready to be laid. Crews have been working to clear the brush along the path the tracks to Orlando will follow. They join into the FEC just south of Michigan Avenue, and we will look at that shortly. With subroad bed laid in this area, it is only a matter of time before track is laid. We'll finish up just south of Michigan Avenue, where the Orlando line will join into the FEC main line to head south to Miami. Crews recently shifted rail traffic onto a short section of the new main line on the east edge of the right-of-way here. They removed the old main line to make way for the new crossovers. You can see that old track on the left here waiting to be disassembled. This new track that is in use now has the first part of the new crossovers installed, and with the trains using it now, they can finish the rest of the track work here without having to close the main line. To see a rough graphic of how the tracks will be laid out here, check out my last video here in the link above. Michigan Avenue was recently reopened after being rebuilt to add the additional 3 tracks here. A short section of the old main line was kept here through the crossing. This will be the last crossing trains will cross over before heading to Orlando, where there will be no grade crossings. You can see where the track shift ended there on the north side. You can see several pieces of rail laid along the side on the right here. This yellow area is additional dirt that was brought in to build up the area where part of the new crossover will be built here. And here you can see where the track shift happened on the south end. Next to where the crossovers will be is a staging area where all the materials to build the turnouts are stored. There are ties, rails, fasteners, and equipment all ready to go. I would like to thank Brightline for helping me by providing access to some of the locations in this video. Thanks for watching, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe. Also check out my social media pages.